Grab a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Prosperity Lounge. We're getting ready to go live at the top of the hour here at 6 o'clock on the radio. So I am going to be joined by the final sheriff's candidate here in Knox County, Jimmy J.J. Jones, former sheriff, running for sheriff again. He's running a little late, and he's got to leave a little early. So we're going to do our best to give the most amount of time we can and push this show through as quickly as we can. We're going to start at the top of the hour. Hopefully we'll be here. There's a big wreck on Chapman Highway, so he's stuck in that right now and should be here soon. So that is what we're dealing with. So just give it a chance here, and we will have some fun tonight, hopefully. Just filling out some super chat goals here. Any color. 10 chats is our goal tonight. Actually, I'll do 5 chats as our goal tonight, and you'll get a full-on thank you shout-out on the show. Let's do that there. Perfect. Appreciate all the help and all the support. Got a couple people watching tonight so far. We're getting ready to get started soon. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Rumble. We are live on YouTube, of course, and we are don't know if we're live on TikTok. We're supposed to be, but I'm not sure if we are or aren't. So I had to get some sort of verification done again earlier. So we're about a minute away from getting ready to get started. We're going to do a little different tonight. We're going to start the show, probably take a break when he gets here, and then take a break again when he has to leave. So we're going to do our best to kind of keep the show moving. If you got questions, put them in the chat. And we'll get started pretty shortly here. So if you got questions for former Sheriff J.J. Jones, please put them in the chat. It's going to be a very tight show. And we're going to do our best to move it along when he gets here. So getting ready to get started at the top of the hour with the show. And I'll just keep going along. Improvising a bit until he gets here. And then when he gets here, we'll do a break. All right, we're getting ready to get started. Here we go. Experience matters, but so does evolution. What happens when somebody who's already led the department wants to lead again? What did they learn the first time? And what would they do differently now? Tonight on the Prosperity Lounge, we're sitting down with the final candidate for Knox County Sheriff, former Sheriff Jimmy J.J. Jones. And we're asking questions voters really care about, and that is, what's changed? Welcome to the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. I'm Joey Ruffalo, best-selling author, financial coach, and business growth strategist. I help business owners double and even triple their revenue using smart, low and no-cost strategies, and I help individuals and families take back control of their finances and build real freedom. In this show, it's where we bring real conversations with real leaders about business, leadership, money, and life. I want to give a big thank you to our sponsors, Our first one up, of course, is Bello Business Solutions. Bello Business Solutions, making business make sense. Contact Bello Business Solutions today. There's a QR code on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube, and also check the links later for that code. You also can go to prosperityloungepodcast.com/sponsors, and all our sponsors are listed there with their links and codes and everything else. And what you'll get is a free consultation using the code Make Business Make Sense. Free consultation. They take care of all your business needs. They even do some tax stuff. They do some business creation, everything to do with your business. Definitely contact them if you have anything or any questions about business. You don't have to be in Tennessee. You just contact them. They'll take care of you. And if you're looking for personal coverage and you need help in that department, you contact Joe LaPera at LaPera Insurance. Give Joe a call at 865-252-0480. That's 865-252-0480. And email him at jlapera@farmersagent.com. That's JLAPERA@farmersagent.com. Use promo code JRRadio. And if you're one of the first 10 people to get a quote this month, you get a free gift card. How awesome is that? And if you're looking to upgrade your Bible study tools, or just learn a little bit more, or get started, or go deeper, as they say, you can claim your free 60-day trial of Logos. Logos is the #1 Bible study tool. Get your free 60-day trial starting today. Use that promo code on the screen. And 60 days is just for Prosperity Launch listeners. Normal people get 30, and it's for any package. So feel free to jump on there and get any package you want. And finally, we have Pure and Easy Tea. Pure and Easy Tea. Revitalize your body, refresh your mind, nourishing wellness, one steep at a time. Pure and Easy Tea. Use that promo code on the screen and get a free special pricing for Prosperity Lounge listeners. And speaking of which, our guest has just opened the door and pulled on in. Mr. Sheriff, come on in and take a seat while I finish all my fun intro stuff here. Take a break there for a second. And don't forget, everybody, every week we have new episodes on YouTube. And of course, every Friday we're here from 6 to 7 live on the radio, on YouTube, for all of your Prosperity Lounge fun times. All right. Just pulled in. You're sitting down. Are you ready to go, sir?
Ready to go.
All right.
Bad wreck on Kevin Island.
I hear that. Okay. So your mic is right there. I'm going to do this live with you. That's your mic. That's your radio mic. Feel free to pull that out. Hold it as close as you can to you. And feel free to clip that as well to you as well. That'd be awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's get that there. It's one of those funky mics. Perfect. Get that mic up there. Make sure you look nice and pretty on camera. Good. All right. All the behind the scenes stuff for everybody. So how's everybody doing? All right. So tonight's guest is someone with real. All right. Sorry, guys. So what's going on? Sometimes you guys will hear this little like buzzy noise on the radio. That's because we got two mics interfering with each other. We found that out last week that was the reason why, that this mic interferes with that mic. I got to figure something out with that. So he's in there having a hard time, Dan's figuring out how to play around with the levels. So I guess if we could take this mic, Mr. Jones, and hold that as close as you can up there, so this one doesn't touch as much. Perfect. Thank you, so. All right. So tonight's guest is someone with real experience in this role. Previously served as sheriff, led the department through major challenges, and has spent decades in law enforcement. Now he's stepping back into the race with a message centered on experience, accountability, and leadership. I want to welcome to the Prosperity Lounge, and thanks for pulling up a chair, sir, former sheriff, current candidate, Jimmy J.J. Jones. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. We've had all your opponents on so far, so this is a great conclusion to the election cycle to go back to somebody who served in the role before, kind of close out, and clean up, as they say. So I'll admit I know the least about you. I've only lived here about 4 years, so after your time as sheriff. So walk me through your background. Tell me a little bit more about what led you into law enforcement.
Sure.
And what shaped your leadership style early on.
Well, I grew up in Knoxville. I went to West High School. I graduated from the University of Tennessee with a degree, a master's degree in criminal justice. Went to work for the sheriff's office in 1980. Went to the academy, came back, went out on patrol. While I've not worked every job at the sheriff's office, I've worked almost every job at the sheriff's office. Ultimately, I went on to be the sheriff in 2007, and I was the sheriff until I retired in 2018. There were several things that went on during my tenure as sheriff. One of them was that body-worn cameras came into effect. We were the first agency to use body-worn cameras. We had dashboard cameras, but we didn't have body-worn cameras, and we were lucky to get on that to implement those because that was before George Floyd's death, and after George Floyd's death, it was pretty much everyone had to go to body-worn cameras. But we had been lucky enough to get there first, and we didn't. It saved the taxpayers a tremendous amount of money. And also, we implemented 287G, and I get a lot of questions about that. But that's one of the things that we implemented in my administration.
Okay, so what we're going to do real quick here as we're figuring out the sound here, because I want to make sure everybody hears this correctly. We're going to go into a quick break. Get everybody set up here and make sure that we are heard correctly. We're on break right now, Vance? We're good? Okay. I'm trying to switch out the mic here. It's going to be one of two things. We're going to switch out the mic. Because of this here, they're so close. It's too interfering.
Okay,
this one's either got to be really high up, like.
Oh, okay.
It's got to hold that high up.
Okay.
You can flip that where that's flipped. That should be fine. But this one
up here,
got to be up there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only issue with having the two mics going.
Okay.
One is for
feedback.
One is for here, and one is for the radio. So
right.
That's the radio. I want to make sure that sounds good.
Okay. I'll try to keep it. I'm not a mic.
I'm
not a mic kind of guy, but I'll try to keep it up.
I appreciate that. Otherwise, you got to talk.
And this is what I brought for you now. That's a letter from the Farragut mayor.
Okay.
And here's a copy of the lease agreement for the precinct.
Sweet. Investigative journalism. Love that. Thank you, sir. All right. All right, we're back. Thank you guys so much for that information. I can get my guest all set up, and I had JJ's mic all backed up here, so we were getting some really bad feedback there. So I think we're all cleared up now. And thank you again for your patience on that. So we talked a little bit about your background in law enforcement, and if we can just go back to that again, because I want to make sure everybody heard that the first time. Tell me a little bit about what led you into law enforcement.
Okay, I started with the sheriff's office in 1980. Went on patrol, went to the academy in Nashville. That was before they had regional training academies. Now Knox County is a regional training academy, and we train people from all over the state of Tennessee. Back then, there was only one police academy, and it was in Nashville. So while I haven't worked every position at the Knox County Sheriff's Department, I've worked almost all of them. And I ultimately ended up being the sheriff from 2007 to 2018. And while we were in there, we implemented body-worn cameras, and we also implemented the 287G program.
Now, 287G, from what I understand, and just from this whole election cycle, that's the Knox County's cooperation with federal law enforcement.
When we implemented the program, they only had the jail model, which means that we had an individual ICE agent in the jail. And if someone got arrested and charged and they came into our detention facility and they were an illegal immigrant, then ICE would take over and start the deportation process.
Okay. That's the jail model. Now they're talking about this other one.
Yeah, now they have a model called the task force model,
right.
which is something that I certainly would be interested in if it's done correctly. It's where you send your deputies to be trained and credentialed like an ICE agent.
Okay.
Then they're on the street doing their job. When a deputy encounters an illegal immigrant, they can call one of these trained officers to the scene, and they immediately can start the deportation process right then. But it's still under the control of the sheriff's office. It's not like you have an ICE or ICE supervisors controlling our officers. The sheriff would still be in charge of all the officers, and it would be his responsibility to make sure that everything goes right. He would be the person that you would answer to if a problem arises, not ICE.
Okay. So this is this difference. So right now the jail model is if they're in there for a crime, they go out to the jail. There's, you want to understand, there's one or two people that are trained to use the system to look up whether or not there's a detainer or potential. But the task force model then is allowing more trained officers to do it at their cruisers, at the computer, or the car.
Right. And they also would still maintain their regular duties as a patrolman for the Knox County Sheriff's Office. They would just assume this role if someone encounters one of those illegal immigrants.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. I didn't get a chance to ask the other ones. I've been thinking about this and it just popped in my head. How do you, as a leader in this role, let's say you use this task force model, whether that's the way you want to go or not, how do you curtail officers from just willy-nilly looking people up?
Well, that's a function of ICE. Okay. Now, like when you saw the raid at Hardin Valley or the things that are raids on construction venues, that is something that ICE does. That is not something that the Knox County Sheriff's Office would be doing. We wouldn't do that. Now, certainly, if they needed assistance, we would assist and help them if they asked for that. But as far as Knox County deputies doing that, that's not a function of the task force model.
Okay, so this wouldn't be necessarily an officer just rolling down the street.
Absolutely.
Going, hey, I'm going to check him out.
No, absolutely. And that
conjunction with another crime, as they're searching, they're able to search this as well and then say, okay.
And that's why I say that the sheriff needs to maintain the ability to direct these individuals who are credentialed by ICE, because the sheriff is responsible to the citizens of Knox County. And that way we keep it all in Knox County and the sheriff is in control of it.
Yeah, because if for some reason you have this thing and ICE decides, or federal government at some point decides, hey, we're just going to randomly do things.
Well, and you see in other states and it can get out of hand rather quickly.
Absolutely.
And when someone is in charge who doesn't answer to the citizens of the county, then it's easier for them to let it get out of hand. If I'm in charge, I'm responsible to the sheriff's deputies and to the citizens of Knox County. So I'm the one that the buck stops with.
That's right. So an interesting perspective here, because you led the department for how many years?
11 years.
11 years. Been away from Knox County's department since then, but you've been still
since 2018. I worked the last 7 months at the Lenore City Police Department.
Okay, so you're back in the fold.
I was back in the fold on patrol.
Okay, on patrol. So you see the difference between leading and then being on patrol, but leading before and then leading now. Can you kind of describe your leadership style maybe then as opposed to what you're bringing to the table now?
Yeah, when I came up, there was a sense of the officers. This was a calling for them. When I started, we worked 7 straight days of morning shift, and you got 2 days off. Then you work 7 straight days of evening shift, and you got 2 days off. Okay. And you work 7 straight days of night shift, and you got 3 days off. And those 3 days off were a weekend. So you got 1 weekend a month. I made $8,700 a year when I started at the sheriff's office. Now, with the generation of officers we're hiring now, the first question is, how many sick days do I get? How many vacation days do I get? How much overtime do I get? And what's the pay? And that's not, I'm not saying that as it's something bad. I'm just saying that times have changed and priorities, and also they like facial hair, tattoos. It's just different, and so we have to adapt to that. And if you, and I'm sure that you talk to other people in the business community, they see the same things that we do. So you have to be able to adapt to that, and we've done a pretty good job of that.
Is there a lesson that you learned your first time around that you're like, man, going back into this, man, going like, man, I wish I would have known that early on.
Yeah, I think it's very important that you listen to what the citizens and your officers have to say. I had 3 doors to my office, and when I was there, all 3 doors were open. And they knew that they could come in. They would come down the hall, maybe going to records, and they would see when my door opened. Then they would pop in and ask me a question. And same with the citizens. They may have been coming to get a report, and they would see my door open and see me sitting in there, and they'd walk in and talk. I learned so much just from listening to what people say and what happened when they were encountered by a sheriff's deputy. Now, most people, when they're encountered by law enforcement, it's not a good situation.
Mhm.
You know, they've been pulled over for speeding, or they've had a car wreck, or their house has been broken into. Most all of the times that you're meeting with law enforcement, something bad has happened.
Sure.
And so it's very important that the men and women of the sheriff's office know that this may be the only encounter that you've ever had with law enforcement. And they may have been having a bad day, but still you have to know that this person, this is maybe their only encounter, and you have to react to that. That's why it's the men and women of the sheriff's office are so well trained. It's a tough job. And I tell people, I do a lot of talks and go a lot of places, and I tell people that citizens of Knox County should be so happy with their law enforcement. The men and women of both the city and the county sheriff's office and the city police department are very well trained. They do a great job, and they're out there every day serving the citizens. And I'm proud. I was proud to be the sheriff.
And what I like about what you just said is it's true. People don't understand, especially people that maybe have lived here their life because they've seen it, right? People who've come here from other places, it really is eye opening how much interaction you have with not necessarily people running for office, that's one thing, but just with the sheriff's department and first responders as well in a non first respondery situation.
No.
I mean, they go to a public meeting, they're just hanging out talking to you. Everybody's approachable. It's a fun experience. It's really awesome to just see them not in, like I said, not that high stress situation, because you get to know them, you get to see them, and you really get to respect out there. Because where I was living before in California, the only time you saw the police was in those high stress situations where something's going on. You didn't just see them like at the public meeting or at the supermarket just hanging out, or not hanging out, but he's there to approach and say hi to and talk to and have conversations with.
Right.
To know.
And that's the thing about this area. Probably about 85% of the job is dealing with the public, and that's why I got into it. I got into it because you get to help people every day, and every day is a new adventure. It's not, and I'm glad we have people that work in factories and do the things that they do. That's just not something I could do. And I think being a part and interacting with the public is a very high percentage of what we do.
You're back on patrol, running the streets of Lenore City, Loudoun County over there, right? What have you seen any changes in law enforcement since that time?
And it was really good for me to get back to there. It was, of course, a smaller community. They loved the police. They wanted that when they saw you, they wanted to talk to you. They waved at you. They wanted you to get out at the playground with their kids and talk to them. And it was very refreshing to me to be able to do that. But I think the main thing in law enforcement that has come so far is technology. Back when I started, the radio system worked about half the time. You had to rely on a records unit to run a license plate or a driver's license. Now all that's done in car. There's a computer in car. They can run everything. All the reports are generated from that computer. It's just come a long way, which has made the job for police officers more efficient and easier. But it's taken a new breed of people, of officers, to understand and be able to do that. Some of the older guys, it's been a challenge to bring them forward into that progression.
Speaking of before and now, obviously you're talking about leadership. You led the department. You're hoping to lead it again. If you could speak to voters and ask and say, there's one difference between then and now, what would it be?
I think it's access. I think you have access. Everyone has access now, but I even did it back then. I always gave my cell phone number out. People had my cell phone number. I would go on radio shows and I would give my cell phone out. And if you need me, and some of my guys that worked for me, when I'd leave, they'd say, "I can't believe you gave your cell phone number out." I've got the same number now that I had 37 years ago.
All right, so you remember it from that. Still a tough number. Give them a call. Awesome, I love that. So I want to get into a little bit of what effective policing looks like today. We have a lot of stuff going on in the world. Talked about body cameras initially, getting those started. Now they're everywhere. You have Knox County, you have On Patrol Live following officers around, which brings an extra level of transparency, but also brings an extra level of security. You have more people you have to watch out for, more people that could get potentially in the way of an investigation or an active situation. People take clips of certain things and run it a certain way on social media, and things go out of proportion. So, what does effective policing look like today compared to when you first started?
And some of the things you brought up, I think it makes policing better. I think when you have as many eyes on what's going on, it makes policing better. Initially, when we started with cameras and body cameras, there was a pushback at first, like, "Oh, this is not good. This is not good. What if I say a curse word, or what if I, do,
Okay.
and so we had to evolve to understand that ultimately the camera helped us more than it ever hurt us. Sure, there's going to be mistakes. Police officers are just like everybody else. They're like doctors, lawyers, preachers, and teachers. You have good ones and you have bad ones, and sometimes they make mistakes. And when they do make mistakes, we have to deal with it and we have to move on. But I think the more publicity and the more cameras and the more cell phones with people recording, I think has been good for the public, and I think it's been good for law enforcement.
A lot of things we talk about themes on the show. We're talking to business owners, we're talking to people in financial situations, we're talking to candidates and community leaders. This is proactive versus reactiveness. So in policing, can you break down what that looks like? One of the things that I bring up with the different candidates, and to my level of policing, is broken windows policy. It's basically my go-to with this question. So can you kind of explain a little bit of your approach on proactive policing?
What I like to see is the guys and girls on patrol in the subdivisions. When they're not actively answering a call, I like them to be in their subdivisions. Back when I was on patrol, we had a log, and every time you checked the subdivision, you had to write it down, and you had to write down the times, and you had to write down where you went in, and so at the end of the shift, you would turn that in. I think we need to get back to that. I think we need to be driving through neighborhoods, and the people in these neighborhoods need to know that the police are there if they need them. Of course, the chances of a policeman driving by and catching somebody breaking in your house are probably about as good as winning the lotto. It doesn't happen a lot,
Sure.
But we have to depend on your neighbors who know your vehicles, who know the people that come and go. Those are the people we depend on. When they see something that's out of the ordinary, they need to give us a call. And knowing the subdivisions and where to go helps us get there quicker.
Well, speaking of subdivisions, I'm going to probably bring up the biggest subdivision in Knox County, for lack of a better phrase, is Ferrier. I had a lot of questions, but I know we're little short on time tonight, so I want to get to the big
Sure.
elephant in the room, and that's Farragut. Actually, somebody in the chat just said, "Sorry, I'm late to the party. Did you talk about Farragut yet?" We're talking about it right now. Your ears are ringing.
You got there just on time, just in time.
So there's a lot of people going around right now. A lot of people paying attention to, especially out in our neck of the woods. Full disclosure, I'm running for alderman in Farragut in August, so it's part of my platform as far as policing goes. I got to bring it up, but I don't want to talk about too much of that. At the end of the day, people want to feel two things. They want to feel safe, and they want to know that it's being done responsibly. So take me through the history of the Farragut, quote-unquote, Farragut precinct.
Okay. I can tell you that. I was the sheriff that started the Farragut precinct.
Okay.
Initially, we had a precinct in the town hall of Farragut. As it grew, they needed the space in the town hall. So, and we had a great partnership with the previous mayors. And so when they came and asked, could we give up that spot for their growth? I was like, sure, but you need to help us find somewhere else. So they did. They helped us find the precinct at Turkey Creek. We had a contract. They did a great job with the project manager down there. Found us a great place. We built that out with inmate labor, and we had a contract a year at a time for $200 a month, which was an amazing price. And it was in Farragut. It wasn't Cedar Bluff. It wasn't. It was in Farragut, where it should be. But going in, we knew that there was a possibility that some entity may want to come in there and rent that space. So there were several times that the project manager had come to the captain in charge down there and said, look, somebody's looking at where the precinct is right now. We just want to let you know, give you a heads up. Well, it fell through 3 or 4 times. Well, finally, it didn't fall through. Finally, someone wanted to rent the space. So they came to them and they told them, hey, somebody wants the space. And they gave them an alternative. They said, we've got a place next door. It was about half the size. And they got another place just a little bit down the street that was a lot bigger space. It was twice as big as what we had. So the smaller space really wouldn't have worked out for us, but it would have been okay for temporary. Mm-hmm. And this is my opinion. The line of communication stopped between the sheriff's office and the project manager, and that's where we failed. And this was, again, this is not my administration when this happened, but we failed. And we quit communicating. And so we sent people down there. We cleaned out the precinct. We left abruptly. We pulled everything out instead of working together and finding another place temporarily and doing what we should have done. I call them knee-jerk reactions. We pulled out. We started looking for another place. We found a place in Farragut. Initially, it was like $4,400 a month. I think we got it down to $4,000 a month. But what would have been the best thing to do is we should have looked at that area that was double in size, because now we have an initiative called Real Crime Initiative. And we've gotten a grant, and that's like a lot of equipment. It's cameras and interfacing with everything together. And that would be an optimum place to have that in the Turkey Creek. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And so I talked to the planning commission last night, and my promise to them was, I hate to use the saying on day one, I'll do this, because sometimes on day one, it's hard to do that. But what I promised them was, on day one, we would initiate a place in Turkey Creek to find what we need and where we need it. And I would have the precinct back down there where it needs to be. That's my promise. I was the first one to put it there. And if I get elected again, I'm going to put it back there.
Yeah. So some of the stuff I heard, maybe you can clear this up for me, but the space you guys are in now, not really a precinct. Paperwork, stuff's done. It's a place for officers to go take a quick break, but also it's there for retail crime, right? Turkey Creek is perfect, and they can dispatch to Farragut if needed.
Absolutely.
That place, like you said, became unavailable. That little space next door, which would have meant just moving some of the phone lines and wiring over, would have been a great temporary spot. And then the space next to that was like this old salon studios. Now with that space, I've heard, Jimmy, that renovation was going to cost. I've heard numbers up about $140,000 to renovate it. But then I also heard that Pinnacle at Turkey Creek was going to cover a lot of that, take care of a lot of that.
It was what I was told by people in the know is that it would cost somewhere between $100,000 and $140,000 to do it, but that they were still going to give us the option to have it for $200 a month. Look, the sheriff's office has
better than the $4,000 you were talking about earlier.
Exactly. The sheriff's office has a $115 million budget. I promise you, we can find $100,000 to $140,000 to build that project out. That would have been one of the easiest problems to solve that the sheriff would have ever had.
Yeah, like I said, I think the owners of the property were willing to kick in some of that because they liked their presence there.
Absolutely.
Protected their stores.
And we liked being there. It was a perfect place for us and a perfect place for people to come and get reports, to have access to perfect parking. A lot of places you find don't have enough parking. You can't get in and out. It's not easy and out. That place is it was a genius to put it there to begin with. And that's where it certainly needs to be back again.
Yeah. At the time it was running. How many officers were there at one time? Or patrol?
There were. I think there were actually 2 or 3 clerks or secretary kind of people to do the if you needed paperwork or if you needed copies made of an accident report and that was the key to it. You didn't have to drive all the way downtown to the city county building and try to park and try to go in and get that. It's just not feasible. And then we had a captain that was in charge, and then we also had space for some of the guys if they needed to log on or to download reports or stuff, they could come in also. So probably at any given time 5 or 6 people there.
And that new space that all their salon studio space that they were looking into, the one that we're talking about renovating. How many would that have?
Oh, there would be. It would probably be double that.
Double that. So
yeah,
that really would have been a full-on operational.
Yes, and it would be exactly, and it would be a central hub for cameras to come in, to traffic cameras, cameras in the vicinity that we have, drone cameras, drone footage, any of that kind of stuff that we need, and we got a grant to do that. It's going to be a really nice. When we get done, it'll be really nice, and there's no place any better centrally located than Turkey Creek.
Absolutely. Now I'll ask a question regarding when you guys are expanding it. Will there be holding cells there?
I don't think there's any of that in the works. I think it's specifically, the grant is specific that it's for crime scene management, traffic management, that kind of stuff. I don't think we'd ever have a place that of course, we really don't need anything like that because we have paddy wagons that transport and come and go.
I was just thinking if somebody does petty theft or something.
It would be
processing
there. I mean, yeah, there would be people who are charged, brought in there to be processed, but not to be kept there. As soon as they process, they would go in the wagon and they would go to the detention.
So the longest they're there is until the wagon shows up.
Absolutely, and they would be on the wagon would be on the way once they were arrested. They would know that they were coming to pick somebody up.
That asked that question.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Hanging around for a while.
No.
Okay. So, like you said, you were the first one to open up that precinct out there in Farragut. What kind of impact did it have on safety and visibility in the community?
Oh, it was. That was one of the reasons that we chose Turkey Creek. They were having a problem at that time with car break-ins and car burglaries and car thefts, auto thefts, actually stealing the whole car from the parking lot. And that's what, if you look around Knoxville, those are the people, or those are the places that criminals target. Big parking lots with lots of cars. It's like it's like Christmas time. They can drive down the lot and pick and choose which car they want. And so when we moved in there, it was perfect for us because of the problems they'd been having. And almost immediately the crimes went down to almost non-existent because there were police officers there were police cars sitting in front of the precinct, there were motorcycle officers there were officers coming in and out doing their paperwork. So it was a place that the criminal element didn't want to be because there was police officers around.
Sure. So one thing people are trying to understand is how all this gets funded. Obviously Farragut's a unique. It's kind of like this. I don't call it like a unicorn in the system. It's like a semi-autonomous, its own town, but relies a lot on county assets to provide school.
And they pay a lot of and they pay a lot of
They
taxes.
pay a lot of taxes. It's different than say like Halls and Carnes or Powell that are part of Knox County that you may have presence, but not necessarily the autonomy that Farragut has. Farragut pays a lot of taxes. Farragut does not have a property tax for Farragut, but they do have a property tax that goes to Knox County. Half our sales tax revenue, which is what we use to basically provide all our services, half of that goes to Knox County. Can you walk us through how law enforcement in Farragut is currently funded?
Yeah.
Is it funded from that? And then what are some limitations that if the town wanted its own department?
We looked at all of that.
Yeah, I looked at it too, and it's money.
Yes,
It's
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But again, as Farragut grew in my administration, we were the first ones to make the town of Farragut one beat. Used to, there were partial beats. It was broken up into 2 or 3 different zones. I made Farragut one beat. So there was one car that was always, now this was back still in 2007 to 2018. It's grown tremendously since then.
Yes, sir.
And so one car is not enough to cover it now. But back then we had one car that stayed in Farragut. So there was always somebody close if they needed anything. That again, that needs to be revamped and looked at again. But we were the ones that started that. So, we had enough forethought to see that the town of Farragut was growing. And they do. The sales tax and the property tax. They put a lot of money into Knox County, and they should be the recipient of public service, and they are. But and then we looked at having their own police department, and it was just the numbers were really staggering, and that was even back then. I think the initial time when we looked at it, it was like 7 million, 8 million, just to get started. And it was, and I'm sure now it would be a tremendous amount more.
Yeah. Well, you got me some paperwork that I got to look through later. You got me some Farragut stuff on investigative journalism on.
Yeah.
What I do. It's like a papers to go through. And I know you got to get out of here shortly. I mean, are there 1 or 2 more questions?
Sure, go ahead.
So I really want to get back into the reason why you're seeking the office again. And part of the problem we're having is retention and recruiting. Pay raises occurred a few years last budget or 2 budgets ago, which is great, but there's still some aspects of it that underscore or underscale the other areas around. What's your approach to recruiting?
At one time during COVID and the defund the police era, we were over 200 officers down. This administration has done good. We've got that back to about, I think we're about 90 down, but there's about 40 or 45 in the pipeline right now. So we're still down 40 or 45 officers. We have to get back up to our full complement of officers. The city police department, for the first time in years, are back to their full complement of officers. And what we've been having to do is we've been having to take officers from other projects like school officers and interdiction teams. We've had to take them off these teams to put on our patrol unit because our number one priority is calls for service. If you call somebody, you want an officer to come, and that has to be our priority. But we can't let these other areas lacking, like school officers. We're down 8 or 10 school officers. Some schools have 1 officer for 3 schools. That's unacceptable. So we've got to you bring up a good point about retention, and what I want to look at, what I think we need to look at is we need to look at some retired military people, and I'm talking about some people have been in the military 20, 25 years, and they're still 45 years old. It's not like we're looking at guys that are 65, 60, 65. We're still looking at those middle-aged guys who have spent 15, 20, 25 years in the service. They know the regiment. They've had the training. They're, I think that's an untapped resource that we have to look at.
It's a great middle of the road kind of approach.
Absolutely.
Guys who starting at, when they start at 20, they some get burned out at 40, and they leave. You got the older guys that are still hanging around a little bit that need different roles now.
And again, I mentioned schools.
Yeah,
those guys will be the perfect for schools. See,
you
when you have a school officer, you have to pick and choose. You don't want to pick out a 21-year-old kid that's just out of the academy and put him in a school because he wants to be gung-ho and he wants to get out there and he wants to do the job on the street. But you pick the guy that's been there 10 or 12 years and he's kind of over that now, but he's got all the knowledge and knows what to do and can get along with those kids great. And if something happens, he's the guy that you want in that school.
You get elected, you're back in day one. Talk about the day one stuff. There's only so many hours in day one, but what are your top 3 priorities in, say, the first 90 days?
I think number one, we've already talked about it, is making sure that we get a full complement of officers. We have to make an attempt, a valid attempt, to hire officers, and we want to look for the best of the best. We've done a good job with this administration as far as pay. They've got the pay raises up. They've done good, and I compliment them on that. I think number 2 is schools. I'm very, you see what happens all over the United States with the schools. Schools weren't made to be hardened areas. They were made for kids to come in and out. They were made for doors to be left open. They were made for classroom doors to be left open. We've had to change and we've had to try to harden these areas, but they weren't built for it. Same way with churches. Churches weren't built to have doors locked and keep people out. So we've had to reevaluate our safety situations and do some things. Again, technology's helped with a lot of that, but we still have to have boots on the ground. We still have to have the people there when something happens. They have to have the ability to act and react right then.
I love that. So I usually close with our guests with a rapid fire round of questions. I'm going to give you 5 instead of 10. I know you got it. Real quick. Early morning shift or late night patrol?
Late night patrol.
Coffee or energy drinks?
The coffee. Starbucks.
What's one word your former team would use to describe your leadership?
Hands-on. That's not one word, but maybe put a hyphen in there.
Most misunderstood part of being sheriff?
It's not about law enforcement anymore. It's about administration. You're the CEO of the 3rd largest company in the state of Tennessee, $115 million budget, 1,000 employees, 1,200 prisoners. It's not Mayberry, is it?
What's a leader you respect and why?
Say it again.
A leader that you respect and why? A leader
that I respect. I don't know. I guess it's Ronald Reagan is the one that everybody says, but I think of course, we've had some good guys, Burchett and Mayor Jacobs. We got some good guys around here that done it. I worked for Burchett was my mayor when I was a sheriff. So Mike Ragsdale, and we've had some good guys around here that do a good job.
I always ask this question to everybody: what's your personal definition of prosperity?
I think getting up every day and doing the best you can.
Love that. Jimmy, where can people find you to connect? We're right now in early voting, so where can people connect with you to learn more?
It's JJ4, the number 4, Knox Sheriff. And my cell phone number is 865-216-3434. Same one I've always had.
If it's in your phone already, it's there. Jimmy, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to the Prosperity Lounge.
Thanks for having me.
Can I hold on to these?
Yes, yeah, those are for you.
Perfect. take a quick photo with us?
Yeah, sure. That car, a car pulled out from Yo Steakhouse and knocked the car over the guardrail down into the bottom of the ravine.
Oh, my goodness. Mic too. So
Okay.
the mic.
Oh yeah. Well, let me get out of here with that.
We're back, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out for a second. Kind of a weird show tonight. We're back. All right. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We're back. We're on break on the radio right now. Jimmy had to leave. Another minute on the commercial break, and we'll be back. Good thing I get to edit all this out later. Give me some good paperwork here, which is going to be fun for the Farragut people. Invoices and copy of the contract and letter from our mayor. Interesting. All right, we're back to the Prosperity Lounge. Thank you so much. Usually we don't take that many breaks when we have a guest. We actually don't take any, but tonight we had to take two, and I apologize for that. Jimmy had a previous engagement and then was caught up in this horrible wreck on Chapman Highway, so we had to start the show, get him involved, get him sitting down, and then really just get back to it. And then he had a previous engagement he had to go to, so we're able to squeeze him in for a little bit. It is early voting here in Knox County, so we do want to make sure that we have the opportunity for everybody to be seen and heard. So that's actually all four of our sheriff's candidates. So I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about each one, because like I said, we're in early voting. This is the primary, but there is no opponent on the other side. So basically, whoever wins this primary is going to be the next sheriff. And you heard from Jimmy J.J. Jones tonight. He brings decades of experience. He's a former sheriff, already done the role. He's focused on returning to the role with, an immediate plan with lessons learned from the last time he was sheriff. Then you got David Amburn. David Amburn was on a few weeks ago. He emphasizes community connection, visibility, and a balanced approach to policing and public trust. And he's currently serving as chief of detectives. He's on the force right now, 30 years, still going. Just got an endorsement from the current sheriff, and he's seeking the office. I encourage you guys to go back and watch those episodes as well. And then we had Brent Gibson. Brent was on back in October, so he was on right before everything was declared, but we knew he was running, but wasn't official until everybody picks up their paperwork. But he brings leadership and organizational perspective, focusing on structure, accountability, department culture, for sure. Great interview there. 25 years on the force, former UT football player, looks the part, sounds the part. Definitely a presence. And then Mike Davis. Mike was on in January. Mike's focused on experience, focused on leadership, focused on strong law enforcement foundation with an emphasis on proactive policing. I mean, he's not an insider to Knox County. I mean, he worked in Knox County Sheriff's Department when he first got started, but he's a former DEA agent, working all over the place. So that federal perspective is an interesting take, So I encourage everybody to go back to our channel. I'll make a playlist. So if you're on YouTube, you can go to a playlist and I'll just put candidates. And in that, you'll find all the candidates. So we had all 4 sheriff's candidates on so far. We've had Rhonda Lee on recently, who's running for judge. We've had Monty Fritz on, who's running for governor. Next week, we have Kim Frazier, who's running for mayor. We had her on before, but she's a commissioner. We talked about leadership and community as a commissioner. Now she's running for mayor, so we're going to talk to her on that. And then right before voting ends, the first week in May, we have Larson J coming on. And these guys will be here for the full hour each. We did, in full disclosure, reach out to Betsy Henderson's camp and try to make something work. But unfortunately, the timing and everything, they just couldn't make it work. So we weren't able to get her on during the primary. So, and I'm sure there'll be some other candidates that come on once this primary season ends. Definitely taking a little break from candidates for a bit. So everybody loves the Prosperity Lounge, I guess. So we'll do that. We've got some great news for the show as well. A couple things we'll kick up here with, but before the show ends, I'm just going to put it out there. And if everybody's listening right now, and I don't know if Vance is listening, he might be, may not be. He's looking at me right now in the other room. The Prosperity Lounge is the #1 Friday night, 6 o'clock, East Tennessee radio show. How about that? I'm throwing that out there live. I say that everywhere I go. I don't know how many other shows start at 6 o'clock and are only on Friday nights in East Tennessee that do interviews. Probably just me. So for now, we're #1. You got a kick out of that. #1 in our time slot. He's the engineer of the #1 show, so it makes us sound really good. As far as our podcast goes, we are internationally ranked now. We're top 10 podcast internationally. So thank you all, everybody, for watching and listening and tuning in for that. It's been a lot of fun doing that. Knoxville Community Votes. Knoxville Community Votes is coming up. There's going to be a link on our Facebook page to go vote for us. The last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, I was the winner in the financial advisor category as well as the professional coaching category the last 2 years. We were up again in those categories. However, I just got an email the other day that somebody nominated us for best radio show on their radio station. So it's all these radio stations, and then it's the Prosperity Lounge with Joey Ruffalo, and then all these other radio stations. So if this show can beat radio stations in this voting, I don't know. Maybe I'll throw a party. I don't know. A virtual party. So there you go. Anyway, there's some fun things happening. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary. May 3rd, our first episode was May 3rd of last year. 30 minutes on a Saturday morning, that little show that could has turned into this hour-long interview, community-centered episodes of fun stuff. It's been amazing. So on May, let's see, let me get the right date for everybody here. It's definitely election day. I should know that. It's whatever that day is in May. Give me 1 second, everybody. I gotta look it up real. May 5th. Yeah, May 5th at the Farragut Community Center. May 5th at the Farragut Community Center at 3:30. It's the Farragut Home-Based Business Ribbon Cutting. And the Prosperity Lounge will be there celebrating their 1-year anniversary. We're gonna have a ribbon cutting. We're gonna have some treats. There's a couple other businesses there as well that'll be sharing the stage with us. Local Handyman of Knoxville and Carrying Transitions of Knoxville Southwest will also be there. Caring Transitions of Knoxville is transforming the way seniors and their families transition through life stages, including senior relocation, downsizing, home cleanouts, and estate sales and online auctions. And then tired of half-done fixes and unreliable contractors? Let local handyman Knoxville send over one of their friendly, caring handyman to help. And of course, stuck in the cycle of financial stress you can't seem to break, listen to the Prosperity Lounge podcast with Joey Ruffalo. So we got that. We're also going to be launching our, I don't know if I should say this on the air or not. What do you think? What do you think, guys? Should I say it? I teased you guys enough? All right. Prosperity Podcast Network. The Prosperity Podcast Network is coming soon. We're working out some details, fixing some stuff up, playing with some stuff behind the scenes, but Prosperity Podcast Network will be coming your way soon. And that's going to be a place that you can listen to the Prosperity Lounge. You can find all the information for the Prosperity Lounge, but you're going to find other great shows as well that fit within the prosperity sphere of influence, let's say. We're going to have talking to a couple shows right now to get them on board and onboarding. So if you have a podcast, if you have something that you are thinking about wanting to start and you don't know how to start it and you're scared to start it, contact us at joey@theprosperitylounge.com and put in network in the subject. And if you have no idea what you're doing, but you want to do it, we got a tool for you. We got a course for you. We'll handhold you. If you know what you're doing and you just want some extra help, we got that too. If you want to use it as a lead gen, if you want to use it to make some money, you want to use it to get monetized, we got that too. Got 1 minute to go. I'm hitting up the break as best I can. So this has been real, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. We're going to stay on YouTube here a little longer afterwards. So if you're watching right now, don't go anywhere. If you're listening on 96.3, thank you so much, as always, for the encouragement and the support that you guys have shown. We love you all, and thank you again. And there's several ways to support the show. Like and subscribe is the best way. Get in there, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and comment on our videos, share them with somebody who needs to hear it. Get on Facebook, follow our Facebook page. And as always, if you're feeling generous, we have our Patreon accounts, our coffee accounts, our YouTube memberships, our super chats. We also have our new Substack account membership, which gives you deeper insights to the things that we talk about here on the show. And as always, the free community at theprosperitylounge.com. Use promo code radio to get your free 8-step action guide to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Really appreciate having the real conversations, especially with the sheriff's candidates. Thank you again, Jimmy, for being here tonight. To everyone listening, especially here locally, these decisions impact your community directly. Take the time, listen closely, and make the choice that's right for you. And as always, until next time, stay faithful, stay fearless, and remember, freedom lives where faith and action meet. The lounge is always open, and so is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out on this Friday evening here in mid-April. Nobody had any questions, which was great because he didn't have the time to answer them. But we had fun. That's all that matters. A lot of people in and out here tonight, inside, outside of the channel. We got, I don't know. Somebody actually scanned the QR code. Thank you so much for that. Go back to the QR codes and throw this up. This is what the support the stream here. There's our support the stream. I think it goes for like $1. It's like the lowest one, the lowest whatever. It's the buy me a coffee, but it's similar to Patreon. Some stuff you can get. I'm curious about all the stuff you gave me here. So we got a letter here from the mayor of Farragut. to the sheriff. Okay. Copies of the sheriff's bill for their office. Ooh, interesting. A copy of the cool. Copy of the lease agreement. Interesting. This is going to be a fun read later. Well, that's about it, guys. I'm supposed to be live on TikTok too, but I don't think I am for some reason. It's really odd. I'm supposed to be. It said it was. But let me double check something here. Because I was really going to try that tonight. TikTok live monitor. What the heck is that? Am I live? I had to do something earlier where like I was live and then had to like do something to show that I was live. Oh, I guess I am live. Okay. 29 total viewers. I don't know what that means. So I go on my app, I'm not live. So I don't. Maybe it's another way of seeing when I'm live. How do people see that they're live? You click on your face or something, right? Live. Oh, we click on the live feature. Am I actually live right now? Does it say I'm live? Yeah. Wow. No, it's actually telling me to go live. Maybe I never went live. I don't know. Continue your progress and get the full live experience. I have no idea if I'm live on TikTok. I'll have to play with that later. Anyway, well, thank you all for being here. Yeah, I wasn't on Twitch tonight. I didn't go on Twitch. Am I live on TikTok? All right. Well, I guess I'm live on TikTok. I have no idea because on my end, I'm trying to watch myself and I don't see myself. So I don't know how to control the chat and the people that jump in and out and all that other stuff. But I got somebody in the other room telling me they could see me live on there. But cool. Yeah, I had to get so many followers to go live on TikTok. So I tried that tonight to see if it would boost some engagement over there. Yeah, thank you so much. Up to No Good, OG. I love this program too. I love this program as well. Man, I wish I could. Let me see if I can upload this real quick, guys. I own this music. I do own this music. Haha. Lounge. I gotta find this song here. I don't know if I can find it right now. I love this lounge. Oh, I think this is it. Let me just double check something. Yep. There we go. We're going to upload this song. You guys are going to listen to it here. This is our new song. We have our theme song that we play. Let me play that for you guys. Let's go. I can't mod every live at every place. Yeah, I know, Noxy. I know. Do the best you can with what you got. Okay. So we have our normal theme song. Let's see if that's.
Grab a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge where growth gets personal.
This is going to give me a copyright strike if I don't. It's copyright strike of myself. That's what YouTube does.
Step inside.
I should never heard past this part.
Chains, mind on wealth, heart in the game. No fluff, just facts and major gains. We rise together, that's how we play. Welcome to the lounge where your vision comes alive.
All right, so that's available everywhere. You can go download that on iTunes and stuff and have some fun with that. That's our theme song, full theme song. Now I'm going to debut another song for you guys that we did. It's not available yet. on iTunes, but it's going to be soon. So, I don't know if I should do this actually. I'm going to do a little snippet of it. I'm going to tease it. I'm going to tease the song. Because I got to take care of something before I show the whole thing. So I'm going to tease it. Here we go.
They said I was a crazy one, talking faith and discipline. Said nobody wants the truth, they just want something easy. I was talking stewardship while they chased the fastest lane. I was building something deeper, they were selling short-term gain. They laughed when I said freedom was more than what you earn. Said people don't want growth, they just want to not get burned. They said tone it down, make it softer. I said no, this is how it's done. So how do you like the lounge? Now that comfort wore you thin, when the shortcuts came up empty and the noise didn't win. I wasn't built for everybody, I was built for the ground, where faith turns into action. How do you like the lounge?
Tease. First listen. Hashtag first listen. Hashtag tease. That's going to be rolling out for our 1 year coming up soon. So 2 new songs. That was one of them. We got another one as well. It's kind of a little bit more of a tribute song, but people in the other room are listening to it right now and getting real excited about it. So that is it for this evening. Kind of a weird show. I'm like, I don't know. Sounds like doors are opening, but they're not. Oh, doors all are opening. Okay. I was wondering what's going on in the other room. You hear like the wind pulling in and out. But yeah, so that's going to do it for tonight. It is, I don't know how to end the show. We're just going to end it. So. Oh, it's one of those nights. Until next time, everybody. I really appreciate you all being here. I got nothing else to say. It's like spooky ghosts out here in the old gospel radio station. There's some spooky ghosts happening, which I don't know if that's supposed to happen or not, but it does. Yeah, some spooky ghosts. All right. Well, nobody else is really talking right now, so we're just gonna call it a night. Thank you all again for being here. Thank you all again for watching, listening, supporting, subscribing, all that fun stuff. Look for the edited version tomorrow or over the weekend at some point where this silliness is not included. And as always, thank you. We'll be here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. 6:00 Eastern time, Friday nights live next week with Knox County mayoral candidate Kim Frazier. Talking about a lot happened since the last time she was on the show. She wasn't running for mayor. Now she is, and she's doing quite well. So we're in the middle of voting. We'll go from there. Thank you guys so much. My wife is in the other room giving me a weird look on the phone, like something's going on over there. Oh, she's just watching somebody else's stream. Apparently has a lot of people watching compared to this educational stream. How many people are watching that one? How many people? Hey. How many people? Just curious. How many people are watching those? This lady's got a skunk on her face, and she's gunk on her face, and more people are watching that than are watching me tonight combined. This guy's brushing his teeth with a popsicle to turn his tongue blue, and he's got how many?
2.8K.
2,800 people watching right now. So maybe I need to just like do something silly. I don't know. But that's just not me. One girl's just sitting there like this.
Okay, they do like the pizza.
I'll just sit there like this for a while and see if anybody shows up.
The sillier it is, the more.
I'm just going to sit like this. See what happens. Hello, chat. Thank you, chat, for being here, chat. How's chat doing tonight? What's up, chat? I was going to mail some stuff, but that darn Sevierville post office, man, my pins and buttons and postcards got eaten up. No, I don't know why Siri just showed me where the Sevierville post office is on my phone, but yeah. Well, before I say something I shouldn't, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you all for being here. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. What is this? Well, good question there, playa. This is the end of our radio show from 6 to 7 o'clock Eastern time. We do a live radio show, and then after 6, 7 o'clock, we kind of do an after show where we talk about what's going on, but I've run out of things to talk about, and I was just about to end the show. So there you go. We talk a bunch of stuff: faith, community, leadership, small business, personal finance, growth, all that kind of fun stuff. It's election season where we're at, so we had a lot of candidates on. Tonight we had a candidate for sheriff on, talking about what he would do if he was elected sheriff. There's 4 people that are running for sheriff. We've had all 4 on. Tonight was the last one because it's early voting where we're at. Election's in 2 weeks. And everybody wanted to come on and talk about what it was like to run for sheriff. So that is what this is. What I was doing when you came on, just kind of sitting there like this. Apparently somebody was doing that and they got 1,200 people watching them do that. I have 8. So I was just seeing who would show up. And as soon as I did that, you came in the room. So it must be working. Yeah, we're live. We're live every Friday night from 6 to 7 Eastern time. And then we throw up some videos during the week as well. Here and there. I was on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule because I was releasing podcasts Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with different people, but taking a little break between season 1 and season 2 on that. So we're just doing the live show on Friday nights with the occasional just live stream here and there. So if you like it, come on by. We're everywhere here. We're live streaming right now on TikTok, live streaming on Rumble, live streaming on Facebook, live streaming here as well as on YouTube. So sometimes Twitch as well. So if you find us anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, feel free to give us a follow. Let me know let me know you were in the chat, and I'll give you a shout out. And I appreciate you being here. Good night to you as well. So that is all for tonight, everybody. Take care, and we will see you all next week.